This is week 6 of my journey where I'm curing my own type 2 diabetes through a diet of meat and or vegetables, and I ensure I go for a walk every single day. If you're watching my channel by now, you know that every single week I post videos where I share my own blood sugar results with you. And also, as promised last week, I'm going to actually show you why meat and vegetables is the best diet for curing your type 2 diabetes, right? I eat meat and vegetables. I go for a walk every single day, and my blood sugar is in a non-diabetic range, as you can see every week where I'm posting my own weekly results with you, right? So my goal here, friends, is, as you are aware, right, I would like to cure every type 2 diabetic person out there in the world, right, through three simple things, right? Follow the diet of meat and vegetables and ensure you go for a walk every single day. It works for me. It will work for you as well, guaranteed, right? So let's dive in, and where I will show you, why meat and vegetables is something that actually really works for curing your type 2 diabetes. Let's move ahead. So this is the same graphic which I showed you in my earlier videos, where I actually showed you why I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Why do we get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? For that, it's very essential to understand what happens when we eat any kind of food that has a carb content, right? Except meat, pure meat, every other food has some type of a carb in it, right? So anytime you eat food, what happens? Here you go, you eat food, right? Your body converts the carbohydrate in that food into glucose or sugar. This is where your blood sugar rises, friends, right? As the blood sugar rises, your pancreas notices the high blood sugar and it releases insulin, which is nothing but a growth and a storage hormone. What does insulin does? The insulin says, hey, it's feeding time, right? So it goes and knocks on your muscle cells for it to consume certain amount of sugar for its immediate energy. Now muscle cells are used 24 by 7. Even if you are sleeping, muscle cells are used, right? I am sitting right now, I'm walking, I'm running, all daily activities we use muscles, right? That is the primary function of the muscle cells. So it does need some sort of an energy, right? So it goes and takes this energy in form of sugar from your blood. Now your insulin goes and knocks on your liver cells. Liver cells also operate 24 by 7. It needs energy for its primary function. So it goes and takes certain sugar from your blood. Now insulin goes and knocks on your fat cells. Fat cells are all around your body, all around your organs. It's a primary function to protect. So it also needs certain energy. So it takes some energy in form of sugar from your blood, right? Now, if there is some additional sugar still left in your blood, now because of the high carb content, right? So your insulin goes and knocks on your muscle cells and says, you know what? Hey, muscle cells, I still have extra sugar in the blood. Why don't you keep it for your later use? So muscle cells absorbs this extra sugar and keeps it for its later use in the form of glycogen. Those are glycogen stores in the muscle cells. Same things happen in the liver cells as well. Insulin goes and knocks on your liver cells once again, says, hey, I have still more energy left. Why don't you store it for your later use? So the liver cells also take some extra sugar and stores for a later use in the form of glycogen, right? Here it is. Now what if all your cells have used some sugar for its immediate energy needs? Here, muscle cells, liver cells, fat cells, they use, right? Also muscle cells and liver cells, they stores extra sugar in the form of glycogen. Done. But you still have high sugar. What does insulin does? Right? Here it is very important to understand that your body tries to have just 5 grams of sugar in 5 liters of your blood. That is the safe level. So your body functions in a way that it tries to keep just 5 grams of sugar in 5 liters of your blood. You and me, every person has 5 liters of blood, and around 5 grams of sugar is a good level of sugar that your body tries to maintain, right? So what if There is more sugar than 5 grams of sugar in the 5 liters of blood. What does insulin does here? Insulin goes and stores this as extra fat in your body. So it takes that sugar, so that the sugar level is maintained at 5 grams in 5 liters of your blood. Anything extra over it goes and stores as fat. That's where you see fat on your tummy, on your face, your thighs, your hands and legs, right? Every single time you eat, this happens, friends. This happens in type 2 diabetic person. This happens in a non-diabetic person too, right? Now, understand that in a type 2 diabetic person, in you friends, in me as well, this process, muscle cells taking certain energy from your blood, right? Muscle cells storing this extra sugar as glycogen or storing the additional sugar left as fat has greatly reduced, because your own cells, my own cells in the body now no longer listen to insulin, right? It just probably listens just 10% of the time. 90% it does not listen to insulin. So what that means is the rate at which the sugar is consumed from the blood by our own cells is greatly reduced. It has slowed down. This is where we say you are insulin resistant. That's the difference, right? If you are a type 2 diabetic person, you are insulin resistant first. That is the whole reason you have extra sugar in the blood now, right? So even this case where the extra sugar is stored as extra fat, that process is also slowed down, so much so that even after eating food after 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, you still have extra sugar in the blood. This is when the additional extra sugar floating around in 5 liters of your blood goes and sits on top of your hemoglobin molecule. It clogs it up, and this is what gets reported in your HbA1c result, and now you are diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. Okay, this is something very important which I showed you in my last video as well. But now look at this. People who are vegetarian, who don't even consume any kind of a meat, do not even consume an egg, they also find themselves to be type 2 diabetic. Okay, listen to this carefully. All the vegetarians who do not consume any kind of a meat, not even eggs, they also find themselves to be type 2 diabetic. Now look at on the left hand side, people who eat meat, primarily meat. Now meat does not have any kind of a sugar in it. They also find themselves to be as type 2 diabetic. Why is that? Right? We need to understand this, question that. So definitely just from this, I can say, you know what, I don't think there is an issue in meat or there is an issue in vegetables. It is something that both vegetarian and non-vegetarian people eat at breakfast, lunch and dinner along with their meat or vegetables. That might be an issue. And I think if you have guessed it, every person that I know of, they all eat some kind of a bread. They all eat some kind of a rice. There are people who eat both bread and rice in a single meal as well. So let's see, put some numbers to this common ingredients, common food items that both vegetarian and non-vegetarian people eat. That is rice and bread. Let's see that, right? So you will understand why meat and vegetables is best to cure type 2 diabetes. Let's dive in. I will give you some more numbers here. Now if you see, I have kept the same thing over here. Extra sugar in blood, both vegetarian and non-vegetarian people, they find themselves to be type 2 diabetic, right? A quick reference point that you need to understand is every single person, including you and me, have 5 liters of blood, and the body tries to maintain 5 grams per your 5 liters of your blood. That's what the body tries to maintain. That is normal sugar, right? And you are also aware, if you drink tea or you drink coffee, you are aware of this measurement, 1 teaspoon of sugar. What that means, 1 teaspoon, right? This is non-technical, layman term, 1 teaspoon. That means it is 4 grams of sugar. Just keep this as a reference point. 1 teaspoon has 4 grams of sugar, and your body just needs 5 grams of sugar floating around in 5 liters of your blood. That is normal. That's good, right? Now look at this particular table. That's all you need to know, right? To understand why meat and vegetables is the best diet to cure. This is the only table you really need to understand. Here, if you see, I have listed down the type of food, right? Glucose and sugar. I think glucose everyone is aware of. You can mix glucose powder in like a glass of water and just drink it. What does that do to you, right? The impact on the blood sugar is the highest. Why do we say that? Glucose is a form of energy. The body does not need anything to convert. It's already glucose. It can directly go inside your blood. That's what happens. This is where I'm introducing you one technical term. As you are aware, I don't want to use any kind of technical terms in any of my videos. Bare minimum. So in this video, one technical term, friends, glycemic index. This tells you that how fast the food reaches your blood as sugar. Now, glucose is pure glucose. It does not need anything to convert it to glucose. It's already glucose, right? The moment you drink it, it goes into your blood. So it is immediate. That's the glycemic index of 100. So that's the base against which all other food items are measured against, right? So if you see glucose glycemic index is 100, that tells you it immediately reaches your blood. Now the amount of sugar or the carbs per 100 gram of glucose is what? It is 100 grams. Entire 100 grams is made up of sugar or glucose. And hence, glycemic index of 100 and 100 grams of sugar per 100 grams of glucose has the highest impact on your blood sugar. It straight away goes, right? So if you drink it, within a couple of seconds, you will just consume it, right? What happens? Now you have 100 grams of sugar in your blood if you do that, and your body needs just 5 grams of sugar. But now suddenly your body sees, hey, I have 100 grams, 20 times more. So your body goes in a state of shock. You do not realize it. It just happens inside at a cellular level. You don't know. That's why, sometimes we all say that, diabetes is like a silent killer. You don't even realize this unless someone like me comes in and, tells you this. And you are also in a position to, take some time out of your busy schedule and listen to this, right? So very, very important. So if you happen to drink glucose, 100 grams of glucose, mix in a glass of water and drink it, within couple of seconds, you have 100 grams of sugar in your blood. And your body needs only 5 grams. What happens? It is at the highest impact on your blood sugar. Your body will go crazy. A lot of insulin will be released, and there will be insulin knocks on your muscle cells, liver cells, fat cells. Hey, there is a lot of sugar. Take it in, right? I have to maintain just 5 grams of sugar in 5 liters of your blood, right? That's what happens. Now I have sugar here as well, right? Listed as a type of food. Sugar, everyone knows, a granulated white sugar. Its glycemic index is 70, a little bit lower than pure glucose form, right? But what is the amount of sugar in 100 grams of sugar? Of course, all 100 grams is sugar, right? So here too, we should understand the impact on blood sugar is the highest. Now, when you have glucose, it's immediate. When you eat sugar, 100 grams of sugar, no one takes 100 grams of sugar. But if you do, it takes maybe 15 to 20 minutes to convert the sugar into glucose. It is very quick. It's already sugar. It converts into glucose in maybe just 1 or 2 steps. I'm not going technical over here. But understand, it will take 15 to 20 minutes maximum for 100 grams of sugar if you happen to consume to get into your blood. Once again, 20 times. Your body goes in a state of shock. You're just not aware of it at a cellular level. So you're shocking your body. right? Now let's understand rice and bread. This is what vegetarian and non-vegetarian people eat along with their food. That's the basic rice and bread. Let us see what's the glycemic index for rice is. It is 65. The glycemic index of bread, white bread that you eat, 65. If you see some sources, it might even say glycemic index of bread is 70 or 75. Rice could be 70 or 75. I have taken a lower number. Still, right? Consider rice glycemic index is 65, bread is 65, right? Now, amount of sugar or carbs, friends, in rice, 100 grams of cooked rice is 35 grams of sugar, right? Think about that. 100 grams of rice, meaning just one bowl of rice, has 35 grams of sugar, which is 7 times as high as your body needs, right? Your body needs sugar in terms of muscles, liver as well, but in general, if you have consumed 35 grams of sugar in a short period of time, the body will do its own, go in kind of a shock, not as much shock as having glucose or sugar, but it will still go in for a shock, and it will scramble, to ask all your cells to consume this extra sugar in order to maintain the 5 grams of sugar per 5 liters of your blood. Same thing happens with bread as well, right? But if you see the impact on blood sugar, of course, is very high. But should we quantify this as highest? I have a question mark over here, both for rice and bread. Understand this, right? Here I am saying sugar, it of course, impact on blood sugar is the highest. But how much sugar do you take? This is where I have set this as a reference point. You might take 1 teaspoon or 2 teaspoon or 3 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon 4 grams, 2 teaspoons 8 grams, 3 teaspoons 12 grams. That's all the sugar that you take in your tea or coffee, right? So let's assume you take only 1 teaspoon, so 4 grams of sugar. So okay, it is not in a state of shock. Body doesn't go in a state of shock by 4 grams of sugar. But now if you have rice, you have to be honest here, friends. You don't consume just a single bowl of rice. You might consume 2 bowls of rice. There are many of my friends and family who consume 3 bowls of rice. So what does that mean? So if you consume 2 bowls of rice, it means 70 grams of sugar goes in your blood, right? Now it might take 1 hour for rice to get into your blood as sugar, 1 whole hour, right? That's fine, but still it's 70 grams of sugar will go into your blood, right? That is why I'm saying you do not consume rice as just 1 teaspoon of rice or 2 teaspoon of rice. You consume 200 grams of rice in one sitting, sometimes 300 grams of cooked rice in one sitting. So if you just say 2 bowls of rice, it means 70 grams. That's why I'm saying the amount of rice that we eat is different than the amount of sugar that we eat. Hence, I would like to qualify rice as having the highest impact on your blood sugar, friends. You get my point? We consume a lot of rice than the amount of sugar, right? Same thing with bread. Do you stop just eating 1 slice of bread that has 35 grams of sugar? I'm sure you eat 2 slices or 3 or 4. I used to eat 4 slices when I was young, but I used to play a lot, and as kids we move around a lot, so we kind of tend to consume that sugar. That's fine. But I used to eat 4 slices of bread. Probably even today, you eat minimum 2 slices of bread. But then you have 2 slices of bread in the breakfast, lunch and dinner too. Some type of bread, right? So what that means? Rice, you consume 75 grams of sugar. When you consume bread, you consume 70 grams of sugar in all the meals that you eat. And hence I'm saying we should quantify rice and bread as having the highest impact on your blood sugar. Doesn't matter if you are a vegetarian or whether you eat meat. You consume these two items every single meal, some sort of rice, some sort of bread. Sometimes you eat rice and bread together during lunch and dinner as well. I know my friends and family, they do that. So what does that tell you? That rice and bread is the real reason why you get type 2 diabetes. You send your body in a state of shock. But your body is really very good in, fighting that shock for over 10 years, 20 years. But after a while, after 20 years, the body breaks down, you become insulin resistant, and you get into type 2 diabetes. So if you are a type 2 diabetic, you have to stop taking rice and bread along with your meals. This is what happens. You put your body in a state of shock every time you eat rice and bread. Remember, even non-diabetics, they go in a state of shock every time they eat rice and bread. Now, rice and bread are refined products that get into your home, right? Have you ever seen a rice or a wheat from which you usually make bread? Have you seen a farm? You know how rice looks like? Do you know how wheat looks like when it grows? 99.99% of the people are not aware of it. Can you imagine this? That's where I said, when it comes to meat and vegetables, you get those meat and vegetables directly as is from nature. Vegetables grow, the farmers grow vegetables. You see this in the produce section in your grocery store, which is just 1% of the entire store. The produce section and the meat section is just 1%, friends. Rest all 99% is all refined products that you see in your grocery store. And we never even question that. We never even question that. That is something we eat every single day. Ask Grok or ChatGPT or any other AI out there now. Say, what are the steps of making bread? You will see probably 12 steps listed, right? The farmers takes the wheat and gives it to the factories where they do all kind of refinement, and then it gets converted into bread, which you and me have been eating for over, I don't know, 10, 20, 35 years, 40 years without even questioning it. We have stopped questioning the food that is available for us, and we are eating it without knowing. Hence we say, diabetes is like a silent killer. You don't know. I have been functioning perfectly well. Even right now I am functioning well, not a problem. But it's just that I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetic 2 years ago. If I had gone to doctor 4 years ago, I might be a type 2 diabetic then too. I don't know. I just did not go and visit the doctor to check my own blood. But now that I am a type 2 diabetic, I have done my own research over 2 years, and this is what I am sharing with you, friends. Right? Now look at meat. Look at meat. Glycemic index is 0. Amount of sugar, carbs per 100 gram is 0. Why? Meat is pure protein. It does not have any kind of an carbohydrate. Hence, the glycemic index obviously is 0. It does not have any carb. Amount of sugar, carbs per 100 grams, 0. So it has the lowest impact on blood sugar. Lowest to none. Right? Meat. What about vegetables? Now there are n number of vegetables. I have given a glycemic index of 25. Many vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, those glycemic index is 10 or 15. There are some vegetables which have a glycemic index of 20. I have taken the max of 25. Let's assume all the vegetables have a glycemic index of 25. In reality, it starts at 10, 15, 18, 20, 25. But assume 25 max for vegetables. This is 1/4 of what you see in glucose. It also, from a sugar perspective, it is even lower, right? Rice and bread, I told you it might take 1 hour for that sugar to get into your blood, right? Because of the glycemic index of 65. Vegetables have 25. So it will take 2 hours or 3 hours. So it is like a slow release of your carbs as glucose in your blood. So that is what glycemic index talks about. It's a slow release of the sugar inside your blood. And how much sugar? Friends, how much sugar? Look at this. Just 4 grams of sugar per 100 grams of vegetable. This is also at the highest end, friends. There are many vegetables which have 2 grams of sugar or 3 grams of sugar in 100 grams of net weight, right? I have taken the highest 4 grams. Let's assume it is 5 grams, 6 grams. What's the problem? Right? According to the glycemic index scale of 25 and the low amount of carbohydrate in the vegetables, the impact on your blood sugar is extremely low, very, very low. We are all interested in the impact on the blood sugar based on the type of food we eat. This is the only graphic you really need to understand, friends, as type 2 diabetic. Meat, consume as much as you need, no problem at all. It does not add any sugar to your body. Vegetables, don't even have to worry about it. Why? Glycemic index is the lowest, carb content is the lowest, and it is the food available naturally that the farmers grow, and that is what you see in your produce section in your local grocery store. So if you just visit the meat section and the produce section of your grocery store, meaning just 1% of the store, ignoring the rest 99%, you have cured yourself of type 2 diabetics. And to my non-diabetic friend over there, right? Anyone who is listening who is non-diabetic, if you consume meat and vegetables, you are never ever going to get into a diabetic range, right? That's what people need to understand from this particular graphic. And this is why I say meat and vegetables is the best diet to cure type 2 diabetes. And I have been eating meat and vegetable. What I am proposing is what I eat every single week, and I show you my results, friends, right? Let us now go and see my results for this week as well, friends, right? If you see, I always do a quick recap of my earlier week. So week 5, the December 15th week, what did I do? I had steak and salad. I had fish and some green salad. So both meat and vegetables. In this week, I went for couple of days. I did a full day fast. If you see my last week's video, you will realize this wasn't a plan. There was a lot of work and I was not able to go for lunch. So if I don't go for lunch, I try to finish my food at maximum by 2 p.m. I don't propose to have a dinner. Dinner is not good for any type 2 diabetic or even for non-diabetic people also. Let's not go and have a late dinner. Try to finish all your food maybe by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. max. So this is what I did. Look at my results, friend. Everything is in green. I am in a non-diabetic range. What I'm doing, I'm eating my meat and vegetables and I go for a walk. That's all I do. Just 3 simple things. That's all it takes, friend. That's all it takes. Now let us look at my result for week 6, week of December 22nd, right? Everything is in green except over here. That's an anomaly. Why? Right? So December 22nd, full day fast. December 23rd, I had cauliflower plus fenugreek leaves. December 24th, I had chicken at 2 p.m. 25th, Christmas Day, right? I had chicken plus a glass of wine, but at 8 p.m. And I propose to finish all your food by 2 p.m. Just follow 1 meal a day diet, right? But here I faltered a little bit. Well, it was Christmas, right? We gathered as friends and I had chicken plus some wine at 8 p.m. Now, Because of that, chicken does not add any kind of sugar, but still it is at 8 p.m. I do not want to consume any kind of food post 2 p.m., right? But I also had some wine, so wine will have some sort of carbs in it, right? So that is why if you see, even though at 9 p.m. my sugar was 5.4, still at a little bit higher level, but still on 26, because of the dawn effect, right, my sugar will be slightly higher because your liver releases some sort of stored glucose early in the morning. That's the dawn effect. It happens to both diabetic and non-diabetic people, friends, right? So I have 5.6, but then one meal a day, I just had cauliflower plus fenugreek leeks at 2 p.m. What happens at 9 p.m.? I was once again 4.8. So that's what happens, friends. Eat meat, eat vegetables, go for a walk, and you will be in a non-diabetic range. My guarantee. I am posting my results every single week here. I will continue to do so, friends, right? Next week, I will talk about why one meal a day is good for diabetic. Why one meal a day? It is not something modern thing, right? We have been following one meal a day in all types of religions, right? It is there. You just need to ask the right questions, and I will explain to you why one meal a day works especially for type 2 diabetics, right? And I would like to request friends, please do go and see my first week video where I actually showed you here that it just takes 4 to 5 days to reduce your blood sugar from high to low, right? In my week 1, friends, here if you see this video, you will see that I have a high sugar of 14.3 millimoles per liter. That is 3 times as high, friends. That is how high my blood sugar is as a type 2 diabetic. But still, it took just 4 days for me to get my sugar into a non-diabetic range by eating just meat, vegetables, and ensuring I go for a walk. Now in week 1, I did not consume any sugar, right? I had chicken as one meal a day. So I did not add any sugar when I ate, and I ensured I go for a walk, right? And by going for a walk, all the blood sugar is taken away from your 3 big muscles in your legs, right? That's why walking works. That is why walking is the best exercise. That's what I followed for week 1, and I got my sugar from 14.3 to a non-diabetic range. See my week 1 video, friends. You will be surprised. That is how simple it is, right? Also, look at why do we get type 2 diabetes, the role of insulin. This was my week 4 video, friends, where I showed you why I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Why are you diagnosed as type 2 diabetes? It's all about your own diet. Knowingly, unknowingly, we have been consuming a high carbohydrate diet because we never even question what we are eating. It is such a normal thing to eat rice and bread without even questioning what happens. And I actually showed you in this video, if you eat rice and vegetables, you send your body in a state of shock at a cellular level. You do not understand, but it sends your body into a shock at a cellular level, and you do it every single meal you eat. Breakfast is high carb, lunch is high carb, dinner is high carb. You also eat snacks. Snacks are just sugar. That's all. I will talk about this in my upcoming videos as well. You'll be surprised, friends. Right? You'll be surprised. So watch my week 4 video as well. Why do we get type 2 diabetes? Very, very important, isn't it? You're a type 2 diabetic. You need to know why did you get type 2 diabetics, right? Why are you insulin resistant? Why? Watch that video. It is extremely useful to know that, right? Once you know this, since I know this, I am able to follow my meat, vegetables, and I go for a walk every single day because I know few things now. It's based on my research for 2 years. I used my glucometer to, measure my blood glucose by just eating different kinds of food available out there, right? And I have come to this particular conclusion, which I really want to share it with you all, right? So if I post videos every single week. I share my results with you. So humble request to you, friends, is please do subscribe, share these videos, with your friends, colleagues, your family, and help me in my goal of eradicating type 2 diabetics from the world, right? You just need three simple things: consume meat, consume vegetables, ensure you go for a walk. Meat and vegetables are the only real food out there. Rest, everything 99% is all refined food which you don't grow in your farms, which is not natural. There's a lot of process happens in the factories and then it gets delivered to your grocery store. That is what you go and buy. 99% of the food items that you put in your mouth is a refined product, including rice and wheat, including rice and bread. That is what it is. 99% of the food that you consume is a refined product, friends. Only your vegetables and your meat is a natural food, real food, and that's why it works. And I'm showing you it works every single day when I'm posting my videos, right? So next week, stay tuned, friends, and I will actually show you why one meal a day diet is best for type 2 diabetics. All right. Thanks a lot for watching, friends. Thank you so much. Bye.